the Better Half Show. My name is Godman Akinlabi, PG to my friends. On this episode, we're looking at media and celebrity life and how it affects your marriage and relationships. So it's Sanctity in Stardom with Oscar and Titi Oyinsan. Don't go away. Stay with me. I'll be right back. Thank you for joining me on the Better Half Show. On this episode, we are looking at sanctity in stardom. It's often said that most celebrity couples struggle to put it all together. So if a celebrity marriage lasts for 10 years, it's like 30 years of a regular marriage. Should this be the ideal? Are there real struggles with stardom and marriage? On the set with me today, I have a lovely couple who are pulling it together nicely in their marriage. We're going to dig into their life at home, outside of the house, and I'm sure this is going to be a lot of fun. So I have Mr. and Mrs. Oyinsan, Oscar and Titi. How are you doing, guys?
Thank you very much, PG.
Fine, we're doing great. Thank
It's really
you.
nice to have you here.
Usually I'm seeing these sets on the other side, but now I'm on this side.
Yes, so
Mama, we made it.
yes, we're usually the ones doing the interviewing. Now
Yes.
it just feels weird to be on this side of the table.
You know, it's really nice to actually interview people who are masters at interviewing other people.
Masters.
So I hope that I'm going to have a smooth ride with you because you know all the intrigues and everything. All right, so
And it's not live, so anything we don't like, we won't answer.
so how long have you guys been married?
A year? Yeah. Okay, so
About two
100,000.
or three lifetimes. 6 years actually.
All right,
Okay.
6 years married.
6 years in April. Yeah, okay, yeah, just last
April
month.
20th.
Yeah.
April, Sha.
28.
Yeah, it's April.
Better get it right.
You have forgotten your wedding anniversary.
No, you never publicly admit that. Just say you're so in love that you're overwhelmed. But
So
6 years, yes.
6
28 of
lovely
April.
years,
Yeah.
which ordinarily some people would say is like 36 years.
Yeah.
Knowing that a good part of your life is always in the glare of the public.
Yes.
Yeah. So how has it been being a media personality, and how you guys pulling that, off
Man,
again?
it sounds like a simple question. But I think for us, it's when we look back or come on shows like this that we realize how far we've
Yeah.
come. It's not been difficult, but it's not been easy. Because I think we went in knowing everything that was ahead in terms of we're in the media light, we have our separate agendas, we have our separate aspirations professionally. So it was kind of like entering in with low expectations of what marriage would be per se, and coming to terms with the fact that we're just taking it one day at a time. So, I mean, when you say celebrity couple, people use that word a lot, and it's still very strange to us.
You know what makes yours peculiar is that both of you are media personalities.
Yeah.
Now let me ask this question: how did you meet?
Hi.
Did you bring yourselves into media, or you met yourself in media?
This is
Okay.
her part, sorry.
Okay.
I'll just
Okay,
chill.
I knew he was going to throw this one to me because it's really interesting. So we had both been in media for, I think, about 3 or so years before proper TV stations. And we just happened to both be doing red carpet events on the same evening. So it was a birthday party of a very good friend of ours, and we're on the red carpet. And okay, so for people in media houses, they probably know that when you're sent out to do a red carpet event, you're probably given a mandate to do maybe 10 interviews, 12 interviews, and then you can wrap up and go home. So sometimes for some events, it's like, okay, I've done 10, all I need is 2 more. And then I'm looking for someone to interview. And then suddenly I just saw someone wearing a bright pink shirt. And I'm like, that pink color will look good on camera. That color. I hadn't even seen his face. All I knew was that he was tall, he was wearing a pink shirt, and he was available to interview.
Handsome. Handsome, sorry.
No, you weren't handsome at that point. You just had a nice shirt. That's all. The shirt was going to look good. You weren't handsome. Let me not lie.
Carry on.
But the issue was, get this job done. It's getting late. We need to wrap up. The camera crew want to go home. Let's just get it done. So I dragged him, literally dragged him. You want to do an interview? I didn't even wait for him to say no. Dragged him to front of my camera and started the interview. And then, for some reason, he just never left me after that interview. He just didn't leave my side. Every time I turn, I'll just see that pink shirt.
He didn't leave you, or maybe he didn't leave you physically on your mind.
No, he didn't leave my side. Like, literally, everywhere I turned, he was there. Like, if I want to walk in, I see him there. If I want to walk back, I see him there. And I'm like, who's this guy? Who's this guy? I'm like, let me look at his,
around?
let me look at his face, Seth. Who is this guy? Oh, sorry, what was your name again?
So, PG, can I tell my own version?
Go ahead.
In my own version, I left her.
Really?
I was working that day as well, so I had my own red carpet, my own mandates.
His own microphone.
And my own microphone, which I still had behind me while she was interviewing me. But I think the back and forth, the hustle and bustle of the day, we ended up just finishing our work, and we're alone, and we just started chatting. And they say the rest is history. But we first fell in love with the media side of us. So we didn't see. I mean, she wasn't looking exactly all right that day. I don't remember her.
Really?
I mean, I looked good in the pink shirt.
I was hot. Forget.
So, yeah, she was actually. So that pink shirt
So-
is the best investment I've made in my life today. So
Because it brought you the best gift that
it
you
brought me
have.
the best gift.
That's
And then the rest we
that's
just
lovely.
picked up from there.
That-
But we
that's-
both loved media, so
I always wrap up by saying this.
Yeah.
So that event was a birthday party, but it was at a nightclub. And they've said so many times that you can't find a good man or a good girl in the club.
technically we were outside the club.
We were on the red carpet, but it was still a
Technically.
club. They were still dancing and alcohol inside the building. I'm just trying to
But
say.
you were just outside.
We're
No.
just outside. But I mean,
We're
you just never know
where you're going to meet.
where you're going to meet that
You're
person.
going to meet the right person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just never
that's
know.
very instructive. So you have to always have your A game on.
Yeah. And your pink
also-
shirt.
And your pink shirt.
Yeah.
Or whatever could do the magic of the pink shirt. All right. So talking about your profession, you do radio, you do TV. I'm looking forward to maybe seeing your faces on one or two movies or something like that. You've done that for a while now, and a lot comes with that. One of the things, for instance, that would regularly come with that, for Oscar, for instance, is babes. You know, this lovely voice on TV, on radio. So
Sexy,
you get
good
you
looking,
get attention.
Yeah.
So how are you coping with all that attention?
Well, she was right in the sense that I wasn't really good looking. So the attention didn't come for a while. I kind of got better.
Okay,
I should show you.
I take it back. You've
No,
always been good looking.
It's no.
No, you're good looking.
I'm in the marriage.
You're a
don't worry,
very
it's okay.
handsome
It's
man.
okay.
I'm sorry.
But the attention thing for me, I'm not like who's the handsome guy now? Then it used to be Denzel, but it wasn't as, for me, it wasn't as much as like, oh, girls are throwing underwear at me when they see me or things like that. No, it wasn't that. For me, it's more of friendship. So a lot of the distractions, quote unquote, that I got were women, girls, colleagues that were attracted to the listening part of me. So I mean, she calls me, her nickname for me is Agony Uncle.
Every woman
Everybody
shall wants to tell
brought
him
their
her
agony.
problem.
Yeah, I don't know how to tell secrets. So
Why?
if a girl comes to me here and she's sitting here and we say something in confidence, and she's like, what happened? I'm like, nah, I can't tell you. She'll be like, but I'm your wife. Like, I can't tell you. So I developed, I just have a way of compartmentalizing people's issues, secrets, and it became a thing. And I think that is what a lot of women were attracted to for me. So
I didn't like it too.
I know, you shouldn't like
because
it.
they said the thing that
Because-
your partner likes about you before marriage is what will cause fights in the marriage. We can go into that detail later, but whatever it is that your woman loves about you is that thing that will be the source of issues in the marriage. And the reason is very simple. I'm a nice guy, I like to listen, I can solve your problem or give you advice. And it was actually on that journey that we met. So we talked about a lot of issues, and then from there it evolved to marriage, but it's still who I am.
And you're a professional problem solver also.
Well, no problem, just listener.
No,
Just a good listener.
There's some problems he solved for so many people, not just women, also guys. So he's always been an outgoing, very generous person. And that was one of the things that attracted me to him. But in the beginning, I didn't realize that other people would also be attracted to those same qualities.
So then, how do you feel about it now that you realize that other people, including ladies, get attracted to the same thing? I know from just listening to both of you, there's an element of trust in your relationship. How are you working on that?
Okay, so from my side, I could see things that he couldn't see. So there is a point where conversations lead from just giving advice to too much information. You know, for instance, maybe if someone is really upset about something her mother said about the job she's doing, and maybe somebody's having a serious issue, and they take it to Oscar. Oscar is going to give an objective, blow-by-blow, bullet point option what she can do. But then maybe more information comes in, the family background, what happened to her grandfather, her grandmother, her children's children. I'm like, what? All this one is not your business.
Let's call all that out.
You've given her points. Let her go and, go forward with that. So at a point, I would realize that, she's probably taking a little more advantage of him that he realizes.
Yeah.
So then that's when I would now come in and say, it's okay. It's all right.
Don't overstep your boundary.
Exactly. But then whether he did or not, I wouldn't push to find out if he did. But I would still
at least mention
make the point.
Yeah, which is your role as a loving wife who wants to keep her husband within a particular boundary. So I would like for us to take a break at this point. Now, when we come back, we're going to dig a little deeper into how Oscar and Titi are coping with, the glitz and glamour of media life and all that comes with it. So don't go away. Please stay with me, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. It's the Better Half Show, and we are discussing sanctity in stardom. And I have Titi and Oscar Oyinsan with me in the studio today. Titi and Oscar, there's a lot to media life. People see the glitz and glamour. You guys have been on-air personalities for a while now, and you often get your faces on TV. How would you say that has affected maybe your life generally, but specifically how you're keeping this all together?
Most people don't believe this, but I'm actually an introvert, so I'm an indoors person. It's part of the reason I loved radio. It didn't put my face out there. I do my show in my boxers or t-shirt or whatever, and I go home. My wife, on the other hand, Titi has always been a child of light.
Oh, that sounded nice.
Yes. So camera lights. She loves the buzz of showbiz, and not necessarily because of the attention it brings. It's what it does to her. So the attention is just a byproduct, and then you have this person on one side and this other personality. So both of us coming together was I think a good balance. I find every reason to stay at home, and
and I try to find reasons for us to go out.
So the job takes me out.
Yeah.
So when TV came into the picture, whether it was being the quiz master on television, or hosting shows, or being an MC, which I do a lot, it brings the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I had to adjust. For me. So it was more of an adjustment for me. Because I really I might be good with people, but I still love my privacy.
You still love your quietness.
Yeah, but the
your-
media life and the media space, especially in the early years of our career, doesn't require you to. You need to blow your trumpet, or nobody will blow it for you.
Yeah.
So I had to go out a lot. I had to go to clubs. I had to go to events. I had to go to red carpets, whatever, we could get that.
Yeah.
So the journey is still evolving for me personally. I would say Titi is more in tune
with all that. So
with all
Titi,
that. So.
Yeah.
putting that side by side with the fact that you are a mother, you are a wife, you have kids, you have 2 kids, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
you have kids. How are you coping with all that?
I feel like every couple, every family evolves in the best way they can to situations that they find themselves. I, for instance, moved from TV into radio because of the fact that the limelight that I was getting from TV at that time, I didn't see it to be where I wanted to be long term. I didn't think of it as the best direction for me at that time. I didn't feel like I was being taken seriously. I was doing a lot of entertainment work. I wasn't making any positive impact. And when I went for MBG in 2007, one of the answers to my question on stage was to make sure that I use who I am to make a positive impact on society. And I always wanted to follow that. And TV wasn't doing that for me, but radio could do that for me. So I understood what I was doing there. I understood the reason why I was there. A lot of people go into the media industry just for the glam, just for the glitz, for the camera, but there must be a reason for you to be anywhere. You have to use who you are, what you have, the platform you're on
So
to make
it's
some
more
kind of
of
impact.
a means to an end, not an end in itself. So
Exactly.
why are we in this? Why am
Yes.
I doing this?
And once
So are
you-
you saying that that justifies whatever sacrifice or whatever you need to cope with?
Yeah, in a sense, because if you know where you are and where you're going to, you don't get distracted by little things. So fine, you have a lot of people, screaming your name, wanting to hug you, take a selfie with you. But hey, I have an event where I'm going to be speaking with women, giving them advice on how to do business or how to go into media or do something impactful in their lives. I remember the reason why I'm there at that venue at that time. So when I'm leaving the house, I'm not just leaving the house to go on TV to look hot or to wear Brazilian hair or high heels. I'm going there because someone is going to be watching that is going to be positively impacted by
Whose
what I'm
life
going to
will
say.
change. Yeah.
So I would love to kind of change that mindset to, that people have that, oh, she just loves red carpets. Oh, she just loves TV. That's why she leaves her kids at home. That's why she doesn't have time for her family. If, for instance, you know the reason why you're in a particular industry, in a particular place, really, it's not about the glam, the lights. It's about that reason why you're there.
So there's the purpose factor.
Yes.
In everything.
It's purpose.
Now let's come back to both of you. 6 years. You guys are having fun, but I'm also aware of the fact that you must have gone through 1 or 2 challenges. Yeah. What would you call your greatest challenge in your family or marriage in the last 6 years? of being
Greatest
together?
challenge?
I think the first one for me as a man, because I'll take it from being a husband. My wife went from Miss Lagos, TV vixen, into radio, into marriage, gave birth. Came out of giving birth, a mother and a wife. The sequence of that took a toll on her, psychologically, physically, and that affected her confidence. So my greatest challenge in marriage was just after our kids came around. One was the issue of I wasn't around for a substantial part of her delivery, pregnancy, sorry, because I had a job with the BBC in Abuja. And when I realized the impact of that, I literally quit in 2 days. among other factors, to come back to witness that, because I realized that we wanted to, but we needed each other to go through that process. So I had to work on her confidence. I had to learn new things about how to talk right to your woman. Yes, you've married her, she's your girlfriend, she's your wife, but you now have to make a choice again to know her all over again and to help her discover herself all over again. So that was my greatest challenge. She would dress up and look in the mirror and say she doesn't look good. And I'll be like, there's no problem. But
So you have to give her a lot of emotional
yeah,
support.
so my emotional quota went from like 10 to like 100. I had to fill that up quickly. And I had to know that there's an end to this. So that for me was the greatest challenge
serious
part.
challenge, yeah.
Getting her confidence back, telling her she can do it, telling her that it was just a phase, etc., etc. And for any man out there, for the women in the woman in your life, even women generally, be it your mother, sister, aunt, they need to be told over and over again. They need to be reassured of that aspect, that thing that makes them the woman.
The woman,
You know, don't take it for granted.
Yeah, so let me come to you, Titi. What about you? What would you consider the greatest challenge that you've faced in the last 6 years of this marriage?
Well, probably the parenting aspect. First of all, since we definitely came from different backgrounds, he had a more, I don't want to say I didn't have a less wholesome family. But the ideals and structure in the family I come from is completely different from the structure in his. They're more close-knit. They tell each other everything. They call each other every day. And
Other day.
Every day. And I was coming from a family that I might probably go for an event outside Lagos 2 days. I probably won't call home until I'm on the way back into Lagos. And we would act like nothing was wrong. You know, I didn't have that many cousins to hang out with. He had like 20. You know, they had special meal times, special events that they used to plan. We never really... Ashoebi was stressful. I was like, really? Another one? Really? Do I have to? So parenting, bringing up the kids, giving them a structure that I felt was... I don't want to say the best, because you can't always give the best.
Yeah.
There's always something better.
Something you considered good for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
A balance between what he has and what he appreciates as family, and what I actually didn't really mind or care about was a big deal for me.
So collaborating to parent from two different backgrounds and perspectives
Yes.
can be a bit challenging for you. Yeah.
Even in terms of religion, because we're both Christians, but then there's Christianity and there's Christianity. You know, there's
there's
morning
Christianity,
devotion, evening devotion, kind of, you know.
No, say it this way, there's
and-
Christianity and there's Omo Jesu.
Yeah, and then,
There's Jesus speaking.
and then there's prayer with mouth, and then there's actually living like a Christian. They're two different things. And then also what I felt was necessary for the children's education. For instance, I was buying DVDs like Baby Einstein and Brainy Baby from when they were 3 months old. They were watching...
Because you wanted to prepare them for that.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it didn't really matter at that point to him. He just said, just do it. Anything you want, just do. You know, so that was a bit challenging and complicated for me.
I can imagine how, how all that played
But
out.
thankfully, it
You're
played
putting it
out well.
together
The
now.
children are great, thank God. And, there were positive results from both efforts. But then he would definitely challenge me and ask, do you think they should be watching this at this time of the day? Or, ask
I
me
guess
questions like...
the fact that at least the little that I know you have a set of twins.
Yes.
And the fact that you have the two of them at the same time will probably have also, increased the pressure
It did.
in,
It
you
did.
know, in
It
putting all
increased
that
it
together.
astronomically.
You answer this one.
Wow, that I'm sure that must have been very challenging, pulling together the two perspectives from your background and bringing that in to parent your kids. Now, let's look at the limelight life The people see you as public figure, media personality, and there's a response that elicits. And sometimes that response can be overbearing. So my question is, have you had this overbearing response that negatively impacted on your life or your marriage or just brought a bit of
Like
confusion?
maybe things that we wish were not in the limelight.
Yes.
Kind of situations.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we've had it quite lucky for us in particular,
Blessed.
and blessed in the sense that compared to some of our other colleagues who are in the industry, whether Nollywood or media related, they need to deal with this on a daily basis. One of the things that we did as a couple was, okay, who in the industry has been able to achieve a long marriage? So look at Auntie Joke Olu Jacobs, you look at Goge Africa, Neka and Moses.
Yeah.
And you look at like Uncle Ali Baba and Sime. You start to now narrow down and look at the positives and the people who are in the industry and are making it work. So we directed our energy towards that. But from time to time, you have fans. You have people who, I mean, it will be more for her than for me because she.
If you say so.
When on radio, you have people who, well, we didn't call it slide into the DM then, but they will slide into her DM, the Twitter, the Facebooks, and basically want to need her help.
Yeah.
So you would have a lot of women who you can't really turn away from the issues they have, but at the same time, there's a limit to your resources and what you can do for people.
Yeah.
And because you're in the public, like, the expectations are so high, they forget that you're also human. You have bills to pay. Because you are in the limelight does not equate to money in the bank. There are people,
Sadly.
there are people who are, if it was that one, then I'll be multi-billionaire.
Yeah.
There are people who are not in the limelight and their account is sitting pretty. And nobody knows who they are, what they do. And there are those who are in the limelight and they are Ubering home or begging for taxi. So for us, I don't think we've had that major issue. I think the most recent was the guy who called, there was a time somebody called like 11 p.m. or something very crazy, weird time of the night, and one of her numbers is in the public
So
space.
I have a public line and then I have a private line.
Yeah.
So the public line is so that fans, colleagues in the industry, people that want to book you for events can reach you.
Yeah.
And I used to have an assistant that used to hold the line, but she went for NYSC, and then I just said, you know what, it's already a public line, leave it out there. So it has a different ringtone. So when that line rings, you just look at the line like, Father, let this be money. And then you answer the call. So there are some cases whereby you would have people call and just want to talk, just want to share their problems. And the reason why, I have chosen
And
to
that can be
answer
very
them.
intrusive, right?
Yes, but I chose to answer them because on the radio, you never know if you are the only thing preventing someone from going as far as committing suicide.
Yeah.
You never know if you are the one that could say something to save someone's marriage. You never know if you are the reason why someone would go to school.
Yeah.
And there have been cases where, like for instance, there was a young girl, a 17 or 18-year-old girl who used to call the show and say she was dyslexic. So dyslexia is a kind of condition where you can't string together sentences in a row.
Yeah.
You can't read to understand. And it was affecting her in school. And I kept just encouraging her to keep going, just keep going at it, keep going. And just 2 years ago, she called me to say that she had graduated.
Wow.
And the truth is, she had said she was leaving school, that she'd been insulted, her friends laugh at her, her teachers abuse her. But she would call. And I would keep telling her, tell me how that test was. Tell me how your assignment went. What were the issues you had? You know?
This is you becoming a counselor.
Yeah, I mean,
Indirectly,
you have to
you never know.
wear that cap.
And people
Yes.
just keep getting into your life.
Yes.
Sometimes at very odd times.
Terrible.
Wow.
There was another gentleman that called my phone to say I was the only person that his wife would listen to, that she listens to my show every day, that if I don't talk to his wife, his marriage is over.
Wow.
He had cheated on her, and she knew, everybody knew, the whole family knew. It was a complete scandal. and he wanted to beg her. And then I'm like, so wait, why did you cheat on her first? But then, but then I had to backtrack. This was like an opportunity to make some kind of positive impact.
Yeah.
Either he was going to leave the marriage, she was going to leave the marriage, or they would get back together. What if I was the person that got sent to say,
To just pull all that together.
pull
for
them together?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I started calling the lady. This is a complete stranger. Started calling the lady. She wouldn't answer me. I sent her a text message to say who I was. And then I called her live on the radio to read out a letter he had written. And they're together today. They have another child.
Wow.
They had a child before. They have another child now.
That's very interesting. That's
so
very
being
good.
in public eye doesn't always have to be negative.
Negative,
Yeah.
It's not always about the, oh, please.
So
I
you can
need
always
something.
swing it to the right
Yeah.
way
Yes.
and get,
I mean,
get
we always,
the best out of
I
it.
do a lot of
Yeah.
teaching, and
Yeah.
a number of the students are always like trying to fast track to stardom. And I told them that once you are in the public space, you also have a responsibility as well. And your duty is to ensure that you not only educate but prepare people, because the fame you get from the public eye is also the backlash you get
backlash
if
that
things
you
go
get.
south. So be prepared for both sides.
So we're going to take a break, and when we're back, we will be playing a game with the Oyinsans.
no way.
And that
We're going.
will help
No.
us
Is this where we stand up and
to...
run?
Not at all. So just stay right there. And you also stay right there, because I'm going to be back, and you're going to get to know them much more through this game. Stay with me, and I'll be right back.